So now we are headed to Dezerland. It's an indoor theme park in Orlando. Yes, it's perfect for Orlando weather in the summer because it's always pouring in the afternoon. So yeah, we've been here once before, but today we're going to go explore it more. First thing we see when we go inside Dezerland is this huge open space with all these vintage cars from different movies and different TV series. Yeah, it's a really huge space to walk around. It's kind of more like a huge mall than a theme park, but it does have a lot of attractions in here, that's for sure. You guys can see inside Dezerland, indoor theme park of Orlando. There's plenty of amazing things you can do. If you're into old cars, there's lots and lots of vintage and amazing cars from the movies. They even have the Orlando Auto Museum where you can see even more amazing cars. And if you're into go-kart racing, there's an indoor go-kart track. There's so many things to do in Dezerland. Here is the Orlando Auto Museum. Yeah, so even though it is an indoor theme park, so in this one you don't actually have to pay to get in. But you do have to pay for activities you do. But if you decide you don't actually want to do any of these activities, you are definitely allowed to walk around and look at all the sights. There's a lot of old and vintage cars that you can see just walking around and not paying. Yeah, this is a fun thing to do if you're looking for a place to walk around and just kind of hang out. So as I said, each attraction costs a different amount. There are bundles that you can buy. Yeah, the go-karting for just one cadet is about $16. You do need the headstock. Bowling for 30 minutes has different prices than 60 and 90. But remember, for bowling, you do need the 2 rental and stock. The Orlando Auto Museum costs about $22 per person. So it's not too bad. If you don't like any of the things we've seen so far, there's even a Army and Military Pavilion Museum and a normal movie theater. So you can see all the latest movies here. Yep, and if none of those you like, there's a huge pinball arcade with really old and vintage pinball machines. Yeah, so if you like pinball, you definitely would love coming here. So they do charge for pinball machines. 1 hour for $10, or all day for $25. So if you do love pinball, maybe the $25 option might be better for you. Yeah, something that Dezerland has that is very unique actually is axe throwing. You can test your skills and throw axes at the target. And these are real axes, by the way, heavy and made of wood. For 30 minutes it costs $25. For 60 minutes, it costs $40, and for 2 hours, $70. You must be ages 8 and up to throw though. And yeah, it is very safe. You do sign a waiver before you commit to throwing these axes. So yeah, fun and unique experience for sure.
And over here we have all the different Herbie cars from all the various movies throughout the years. Yeah, some of them look really old and beat up from the movie stunt scenes, but they're still pretty cool to see. And over here we have the arcade. Yeah, it's a pretty huge arcade with a lot of different games. So if you guys like arcade games, you guys would probably really like this arcade. Honestly, I love arcade games, and I could spend like hours in this arcade. And over here we have some of the Flintstones vehicles. Yeah, you can see the Flintstones vehicles from the movies and the old Flintstones cartoons. It's really cool because as a kid, I saw a lot of Flintstones cartoons. So it's really great to actually see life-size vehicles, and also the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine too. These were some of my favorite cartoons as kids.
This is part of the Orlando Auto Museum. That is a paid admission to see the cars in here, but there are some pretty cool cars in there. So I think it would actually be worth to pay for the Auto Museum. There's definitely a lot of different cars from different movies that you can see. But some free ones that you can actually see are over here. Some space cars from various movies next to the Jump Start trampoline area. Yeah, so the Dezerland indoor theme park has something for everyone. Plenty of things to do here. Yep, and it's raining again. Orlando, summer, Florida. Look at all the futuristic cars. Yeah, it looks like a prop from Back to the Future 2 maybe. Pretty cool though. Can you imagine having a car like one of these? And here there's glow-in-the-dark mini golf. And also some arcade games that you can play. Yeah, glow-in-the-dark mini golf costs about $14 per person. But if you go on Groupon, they do have a deal for it to cost about $11.50. Guys, so we're in the Orlando Auto Museum now. So we were gonna do the glow-in-the-dark mini golf, but turns out there's no reservations until a lot later. So not today, next time. So piece of advice for you guys, make sure you make your reservations not the day of, because there might not be any time slots. But yeah, we decided to come to the Orlando Auto Museum instead. We ended up getting a pretty cool buy one get one free deal. So it only cost us about $21. So yeah, not bad. Never been inside, so excited to see what kind of different cars we're gonna see. So yeah, let's get going.
So as we're walking inside, we see there's various rooms of cars to look at, various exhibitions. There's a lot more than I expected. So the first one we're going to look at is the 20s. Wow, the cars from that time sure look a lot different from now. I really can't imagine having a car like this, honestly. And now we are seeing the cars from the 30s next. Yeah, it looks like it's also very different from the cars of today. Not too different from the 20s, actually. Still very similar designs. Looks like in the 30s is when they started barbershops too. And we're coming up to the 40s next. In this room, there are a lot of boats. Yeah, there's just a lot of boats. It looks like in the 40s is when there was the first cruise. And that's when
boats started to become more popular. Ooh, the next room is labeled the Cars of the Stars. I wonder what kind of cars we'll find in there. Oh, look. There's the cars from the Green Hornet movie. Yeah, I've never seen that before. I've actually not seen a lot of these movies before. Here we have another mystery machine from the Scooby-Doo movies and Scooby-Doo cartoons. It is different than the one we saw earlier, actually.
So in this room, we have a bunch of cars from various movies. Indiana Jones, Mr. Bean's Holiday. Wow, there's so many in here. This room is amazing. Mission Impossible 2, Terminator 3, Total Recall. So far, I am very impressed with the Auto Museum.
Here is the Michael Jackson Soul Train car. Wow, it's very futuristic and unique, that's for sure. Ah, the Ghostbusters car. I've still never seen the Ghostbusters movie, but maybe someday. Oh, and here's some cars from one of my favorite movies, Grease. Yeah, and actually I like the original better than the newer version of it. Inspector Gadget is also here. The A-Team. Some of these movies I have never heard of.
And here we are on the other side of the fence now that you guys saw earlier. The Fast and Furious cars, the Mad Max cars. If we were just in Hollywood Cars of the Stars. Look at all the logos. Welcome to New York City, everyone. New York City of Dezerland Auto Museum. Yes, for those of you that have not been to New York, it is true, the subways do really look like this. Well, not on the inside, but definitely the outside looks like a New York subway. Key West? Yes, I have actually been to Key West as well. Key West is the southernmost point of the US, and then next is Cuba. And Key West is actually a beautiful place. I'm hoping to go back to Key West maybe later this year, because right now Florida summer is all rain almost all the time, every day for the next 3 to 4 months. And here we have a car with a Cuban and American flag together. Here we have the Great Gatsby. So if any of you guys are familiar with that movie or that book, here are the types of cars from that part of the century. Now we are going to see some cars from Israel. It's very unique. I didn't know that Israel had their own type of cars. Oh, it's pretty cool.
Wow, look at all the different motorcycles here. There's really so many. I've never seen all these different types of motorcycles before. Yeah, so we actually have made it all the way back around to where we began. If you guys remember, we actually did see one of those vehicles before. Oh, look, the Barnum and Bailey circus vehicle. Yeah, I've never actually been to Barnum and Bailey's circus before in person. So, but I hope someday to be able to go to a circus.
Now we are getting to the Batman part of our auto museum tour. I'm excited because DC is my favorite comic franchise. And Batman is one of my favorite DC superheroes. Wow. Wow, look at all this. Oh, this is amazing. All the different Batmobiles from various movies, and even like a little sort of Batcave thing with Catwoman. It's really cool. And in this room we have the Harley Davidson motorcycle and motorcycle collection. And a few cars too. It's a pretty cool room.
We've seen cars from all around the world so far, and now we are getting to see a whole collection of American cars. I actually was only born in the 90s, so I don't know a lot about old cars, but I've seen a lot of old cars in movies and in books, so it's pretty cool to see them actually in person. Got home from going to the Orlando Auto Museum. Actually, the Orlando Auto Museum is about 45 minutes to an hour away from us, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't as much traffic as usual since we came home at about 9 o'clock. But it was really nice. I definitely recommend visiting the Orlando Auto Museum if you like cars or like movies. And honestly, you don't have to like cars to enjoy the Orlando Auto Museum. Just seeing all the different kinds of cars from around the world and from different movies was really cool. So I definitely recommend. So thank you guys for watching. So see you guys next time.